big deal has closed on Friday. And I'm seeing a lot of headlines, a lot of YouTubers saying things like, it's done. And we were talking earlier, this isn't the end. This is really the beginning with Xbox and Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I think the regulatory process, let's just say it took so long that it almost felt like the game or the kind of goal itself was to get through the regulatory process. That's just the beginning. In fact, this evening I'm flying to Stockholm to see the King team. It's a team I don't know that well, so I'm really excited to go see them. I think we're in Stockholm and then London. They have a couple other locations. I don't know that we're going to make to all the locations, but I'm really excited about seeing the teams. The following week, I'm going down to Southern California. I'll go to Blizzard. I'll go see Activision. And to me, when I think about where we're trying to go, it always starts with the teams, right? The teams have to feel motivated. They have to feel inspired. They have to feel safe. They have to feel heard. And because their passion, their commitment to the things that they build, the way they run their games, that comes from the culture of who they are. I've said it many times. I think teams ship their culture in everything they do, whether it's implicit or explicit. You can kind of feel the dynamic on a team and the creative output, whether it's a band, whether it's a writer, or whatever. So spending time with the teams and getting to hear from them where they're going. I have some of my own opinions, of course, but they're just opinions. This is getting time with the teams, thinking about where we're trying to go, then looking at the games and where we are and where the roadmap. That's really where the work is, and I'm very, very excited.
And as part of that journey, obviously there's the big burning question that everybody would like to know, and you mentioned it in your Xbox Wire post.
When's Hexen coming back? That's what people want to know.
I think that's what you want to know.
Might be one of my questions.
Yes, but that is part of it. But it's also, and you wrote in your Xbox Wire post last week as well, that the work has started on bringing Activision Blizzard King games to Game Pass and other platforms. And I think like speculation and wish lists have been running wild ever since last week. So I'm sure you've seen all of that. But what does that mean exactly, especially when we think about our last acquisition in 2021 with Bethesda? There was a fairly immediate drop of back catalog games. So I think people are looking to that and wondering, is that kind of how the format is going to go now? Or what does that actually look like?
And I think rightfully so, right? When we finished Bethesda, there was this great moment. We were able to put a bunch of the back catalog games in, celebrate their history. The truth of the matter is, with Activision Blizzard King, that the regulatory process took so long, and frankly, there was a lot of uncertainty in that process up until really a week before we closed, or the week of, when the CMA finally came down to their decision, that we weren't able to get in and work with mostly Activision and Blizzard in this case, on that back catalog work. So now that the deal is closed, we're starting that work, but there is work. And I think the Activision Twitter handle or X handle, whatever we're calling it, did put out a statement. I can't call it that, but Twitter handle did put out something that talked about 2024. I think that's accurate. There's no. I would love it if there was some kind of secret celebration drop that's coming in the next couple of weeks. There's not. It's definitely when we think about the new games that are there. I would be straight with people, right? If we were going to put them in the subscription this year, I would tell people, and I know there'll be some disappointment about that. This acquisition is definitely long-term. So the fact that we're not hitting day one with a bunch of games dropping in to Game Pass is a little bit of a downer, but I'm very excited about the future. And I just want to be straight with people that that's where we are.
There you go, addressing the rumors. Now let's talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 coming out next month. Very excited. I played the beta over the weekend.
The open beta, what did you think?
It's very interesting getting humbled by your reaction time going down every single year.
Okay, young man.
It's very clear that
I count my reaction time in like tens of seconds now.
Well, people are getting really good at the game, but to that point, like people are really excited about it. And I think for players who may not be playing on Xbox, they want to know, what does this mean for them on their platform? Like, is Xbox going to see exclusive DLC, early release, things like that? So what can you tell players who are looking to play Call of Duty on other platforms?
And when we say other platforms, I think we're talking about PlayStation.
Yeah, I think
that other one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think the PC players, their PC is unique, and I want it to feel like it's part of the overall gaming platform that Xbox focuses on. We've been on that journey for a while with our first party and our Xbox app on PC. There's a lot of work for us to continue to do there. For Call of Duty players, on PlayStation and in the future on Nintendo, I want you to feel 100% part of the community. I don't want you to feel like there's content you're missing out, there's skins you're missing out, there's timing that you're missing out on. That's not the goal. The goal is 100% parity across all platforms as much as we can for launching content. I say as much as we can on parity because clearly some platforms have resolution and frame rate differences just based on perf. But there's nothing else. Like we have no goal of somehow trying to use Call of Duty to get you to buy an Xbox console. So it is, I want the Call of Duty nation to feel supported across all platforms. We've been on the other side of some of those skins and times, even this beta, like it wasn't on Xbox the first week. Like I don't think that helps the community. I don't think that helps the game. And so it's the focus if you're a PlayStation player, you're a Nintendo player, PC player, or an Xbox console player. I want you to feel like 100% part of the Call of Duty nation.
Love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we were talking about the rumors of when, things might appear on Game Pass. The other sort of like set of rumors is, or speculation out there.
Rumors.
If there's only the two, right? Is like,
There are only two.
Are you bringing back Guitar Hero or Tony Hawk, or would you have Infinity Ward work on this Xbox IP or franchise or something like that? And that stuff's been, there was 20 months to think about those types of things.
Yeah.
But now that officially the team is joined as of Friday, so you have 9 studios, there's a wealth of IP from Activision. Like, how are you thinking about these new teams, these new franchises, or new to us franchises? Like, how do you even take all of that in?
Yeah, the first thing, as I kind of mentioned before, is to go spend time with the teams. Because I just don't think that a team working on something that isn't their passion leads to the best result. So I might have my list of things from my memories in history that I want to see made again. Everybody will, right? When I just think about, not just about Activision Blizzard King, you add in Bethesda, you add in Xbox's history, Rare, like the amount of franchises that we now have in our portfolio it's kind of inspiring, it's daunting. I feel that we have to be a great custodian for the content that we touch. These are memories from people on different platforms, different decades. And I want to make sure that when we're going back and visiting something, that we do it with our complete ability, a motivated team that wants to go work on something and make a difference, not just create something for financial gain or create something for a PR announcement and not deliver on the product. So I'm going to start with the teams and what are they passionate about. That's why I'm excited to go on these visits. And then we'll look at it. I think we've done an okay job as Xbox. I don't think we've done kind of an A+ job on looking at our franchises and revisiting them. It's always a trade-off between what do you do that's new and going back and doing something. I do think with Game Pass, we have the ability to maybe pick a couple franchises every year and almost do like a revisited. I just made up that term, so it's not a brand.
It's not on a box.
It's not on a box, but I tease about things like Hexen just because I remember playing it as a kid. I have no plan for that. But I do think when you look across all of the franchises and are a part of our teams, there's an opportunity for us to go back, even if it's just to recognize the moment and what those things meant in gaming's history and do something right with it, make it available to people through Game Pass. I think there's an opportunity. There's not a plan for that, but there's an opportunity. If teams want to go back and revisit some of the things that we have and do kind of a full focus on it, I'm going to be all in on that because I think there's just an amazing trove of things that we can go and touch again. It doesn't have to just be about Activision and Blizzard. Like I said, when you look across all the portfolio, I think about things like the Quake 2 remaster. It just came out from it. I thought that was awesome, right? They did a real good job revisiting a game, making it current, but also not leaving the history behind. So I'd love to see more things like that.
So you mentioned the trove of content, the treasure trove, and you've mentioned Hexen.
Yeah.
I think so. It fits. But are there, Hexen's maybe a deep cut for some because it's a shooter from the 90s, and we obviously have a very wide-ranging community. Are there any other games or franchises, just for you personally, deep in the vault that we can now potentially explore that you're just personally excited for people to discover for the first time or maybe rediscover?
hadn't really thought about that question. Specific on Activision and Blizzard, there's some moments in Activision's history. You mentioned Tony Hawk, you mentioned Guitar Hero, even things like Skylanders, or that were moments where the teams kind of innovated outside of expectation. What do you mean I'm going to carry a plastic guitar and plug it into my console and play? Like, that's never going to work until it worked. And then everybody said, well, of course that was going to work. Skylanders kind of the same way. For me personally, though, when I think about the franchises, I kind of go back to things like some of the old Infocom things that were, like you just asked for me personally, part of my youth, the text adventure Zork, those kind of things. I think about King's Quest. I thought they did a really nice job. But like those, the Sierra catalog, the Infocom catalog, just because of my age, like those things speak to me because they were moments in my gaming career, my gaming kind of experience that really meant something. And I love those. When you think about Blizzard and all these things that they've done, like amazing franchise, StarCraft, like it was in the video that the teams did, which I know there's been some discussion about should we have done a video for an acquisition or not, but there's just some amazing franchises in there. Most important is that we treat them with the respect that they deserve, and we don't turn it into some way for us just to kind of, like I said, a PR moment or something else.
100%. By the way, I almost cried at that video. That was a cool video that we put out on Friday. So come on, everybody.
I like the video. I saw some people.
I thought it was awesome. But so we've been talking about, obviously we've been doing the show for a few weeks now. We've been talking about Diablo, Overwatch, all these awesome games that Activision and Blizzard both work on. But we talked about ABK. The K stands for King.
Yeah.
And that's definitely mobile gaming focused. And so how are you thinking about mobile gaming as it pertains to Xbox?
My goal as head of Xbox is, I've been here over 20 years. I want Xbox to be a great brand, a great community for people over the next decades to come. So when I've thought about that, of what do we need to have in our portfolio and our capability as a team to ensure 30 years from now, Xbox is bigger and stronger than it is today, we've got to be relevant on mobile. There's just no way to really plot the future without being on the platform that most of the planet plays on. The games are different, the business models are different, the whole dynamic of how you distribute, how you find games is different. So when I was looking at that, I needed to find a team that's had amazing success for us to learn from. So literally, Amy Hood, who's the CFO of Microsoft, and I went through a list of who are the most accomplished publishers in the mobile space. And most people wouldn't have expected, I didn't, that Activision would have been as high with the King work, as well as the Call of Duty mobile work, Warzone stuff that they've been doing, Diablo Immortal. And so I want to go learn from those teams because I think it's critical for us to deliver on the full promise of over 2 billion people playing, the opportunity to reach more of 3 billion people playing video games, to reach more and more people, that people who only play on their phone find Xbox to be something that's interesting for them. It doesn't mean I want to turn all of our franchises into mobile franchises. It doesn't mean everything's going to go free to play. I think the distribution and business model kind of diversity that we have is a strength of the platform. People who want to buy games, I love that. People want to subscribe to their games, it's great. Free to play games are great as well. But I'm really looking forward to learning on mobile because it's the truth of the matter is if you're going to continue to be relevant in gaming at a global scale, you're going to have to find a way to be relevant on the largest platform, which is mobile. So looking forward to flying and seeing King and talking to them and learning.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you're heading out to Stockholm here,
Yeah.
later today. Xbox is already a big team, and now it is much bigger with like we mentioned, 9 new studios. We doubled. I don't know where you find the time in the day, but how hands-on do you expect you will be with our new teammates?
Yeah, and some people here know that I'm a big consumer of what we do. I play a lot of games. I have opinions. They're not always right. They're definitely not always right. But I've already started asking questions and giving my point of view. I'm not one that says, thou must, like we have to go do this. But asking questions both to learn and to see what we're thinking about and where the ambition is. But I rely on the teams. I get the title. I get to come on cool podcasts and talk too much. but the work that happens here is really down to the individuals on the team. From people who are on camera 5 times in the last 5 weeks as opposed to 1 time in the last 5 weeks, the people you can't see that are behind the scenes that make sure these shows happen, the people who are the community managers for the games at places like Minecraft, places like the Forza team, and all, like it is the most important thing I can do is empower the teams. An empowered and motivated team that feels like they have kind of agency and ability to drive their own vision with a perspective that maybe I can help. That is the if there's anything I can do in my role, it's empower the teams and make them feel safe, make them feel like failure's okay. Let's go learn, and then I get out of the way, because it's decisions that come from this head